Hey everybody, and welcome back. Ready for a deep dive that might just make your wallets a little happier?
Yeah, we're looking at some promising stuff
All
today.
right, I'm listening. We're talking Social Security benefits, right? Can they actually be going up?
It's looking more likely than it has in the past few years, that's for sure.
Okay, so what's changed? I mean, we get a cost of living adjustment every year, the COLA, but last year's felt like, well, barely anything with prices going crazy like they have been.
Right, a lot of people felt that way. The 2.5% COLA for 2025 just didn't quite cut it. But this year things might be different.
So is this because inflation's finally cooling down?
Actually, it's kind of the opposite. There's this YouTube video making the rounds, and it dives into the latest inflation numbers, specifically the consumer price index, the CPI-W.
Right, the one for urban wage earners and clerical workers. It's basically a measure of how much everyday stuff costs, right?
Exactly. And the recent CPI-W data is showing a pretty significant jump.
So a big jump in the CPI-W, that means
That means the COLA for 2026 could be a lot bigger than what we saw for 2025.
okay. I like where this is going. But how big are we talking?
Well, the month-over-month increase was 0.7%. Now, I know that might not sound like much, but
Wait, 0.7% in just 1 month?
yep. And if that kind of increase were to continue, even for a few more months,
We could be looking at a COLA of what, 8%, maybe even more?
potentially, yeah, and that could translate to a lot more money in your pocket each month.
Okay, now I'm really interested. But it's only February, right? I mean, isn't it a little early to be making these kinds of predictions?
Well, yeah, it's definitely still early in the year. We can't predict the future.
Of course not.
But this data, combined with some other factors like potential policy changes.
Right, like those tariffs we've been hearing about, the ones that could make imported goods even more expensive.
Exactly. All of that could push inflation even higher, which would mean a bigger COLA.
Okay, so we've got this surprisingly high inflation number, plus the possibility of even more inflation down the road. That sounds, well, it sounds cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Cautious optimism.
But still, 8% or more, that's a huge difference from the 2.5% we got last year. What would that kind of increase actually look like, for someone's monthly budget?
Yeah, let's break that down a little bit and see what kind of impact a bigger COLA could have for you. Okay, so let's say you're getting about $1,800 a month in Social Security benefits right now.
Okay, yeah, $1,800, that's probably pretty average, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good starting point for this. So with inflation potentially running at, 0.7% per month, like we talked about,
Right, that 0.7%.
it could mean a COLA increase of around 8%, maybe even higher for 2026.
8%, wow, that's way more than we've seen recently.
It is, yeah. And on an $1,800 benefit, that would be, let me see, that would be an extra $144 every month.
$144, hold on, so that's like an extra $1,800 per year, almost.
Yeah, it adds up, right? It might not seem like a ton of money, but it definitely makes a difference.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, think about what people could do with that extra money.
Exactly. It could help cover those rising grocery bills, maybe put a little extra towards savings, or even give you some breathing room to finally take that vacation you've been putting off.
Oh, vacation, now you're talking. But okay, let's be real for a sec. Even if inflation stays high, is there any chance that the actual COLA could end up being lower than 8%? I mean, I don't want to get my hopes up too high.
Yeah, I hear you. It's always good to be a little cautious, right? And you're right, there are a few things that could affect the final COLA.
Okay, like what?
Well, sometimes there are adjustments made to the way they calculate the CPI-W. And of course Congress could always change the rules, but that's probably less likely.
So basically, we just need to stay informed and see how things play out over the next few months.
Exactly, but even if it's a little less than 8%, I mean, any increase is better than what we got last year, right?
Oh, absolutely. Every little bit helps. So, okay, let's say we do get this big COLA bump. What can people do now to get ready for it?
Well, the best thing anyone can do is really look at their budget, see where their money's going now, and think about how that extra money could help them reach their goals.
Right, like a financial spring cleaning.
Yeah, exactly. And if you haven't started investing yet, now might be a good time to start looking into that.
Well, that's a good point. And speaking of investments, what about those tariffs? Wouldn't those affect investments too, especially anything tied to imported goods or, overseas markets?
You're definitely thinking ahead. Yeah, tariffs and global events can definitely have an impact. It might be worth talking to a financial advisor about that, get their take on how things might play out.
Right, because a financial advisor can help you figure out what kinds of investments are right for you, right? And maybe even help you manage that extra money from the COLA.
Exactly. They can look at your situation, your goals, and help you make a plan that makes sense for you.
So we've got budgeting, investing, and maybe even getting some advice from a financial advisor. Anything else people could do to prepare?
Well, one thing that often gets overlooked is managing debt.
Oh, right, those credit cards and student loans.
Yeah, if you're paying a lot of interest on those, even a little extra income each month could help you pay them down faster, which means you'll have even more money in the long
And
run.
like a double win.
Exactly. More money coming in, less going out to interest. It all helps create a more positive financial picture.
So even though we don't know exactly what the COLA will be yet, there are still things people can do now to get ready.
Absolutely. Being proactive is always a good idea.
Okay, I like that. Proactive. And that's what this whole deep dive has been about, right? Getting informed and feeling more in control of our finances.
That's exactly right.
Awesome. Well, this has been really eye-opening. It's given me a lot to think about. I'm sure our listeners feel the same way. But before we wrap up this part of the deep dive, I want to shift gears a bit and talk about something a little different.
Okay, what's on your mind?
We've been talking about the numbers, the practical side of this potential COLA increase. But I think there's also an emotional side to this, right? I mean, having more financial security can make you feel better, less stressed.
Oh, absolutely. The emotional impact of money is huge. It can affect everything.
Exactly. Even a small increase in income can really reduce that financial anxiety. Gives you a little more breathing room, a little more freedom to enjoy life.
Yeah, that sense of security is priceless. It can open up new possibilities, let you focus on the things that really matter.
Like spending time with family, pursuing hobbies, maybe even starting that business you've always dreamed of.
Exactly. It's about having the freedom to choose to create the life you want.
I love that, the freedom to choose. This conversation has really helped me see things in a new light. It's not just about the money itself, it's about what that money can do for you, for your life.
Well said. It's about finding that balance between financial security and living a life that's meaningful to you.
Well said. And I think we're both feeling pretty good about the chances of a bigger COLA in 2026.
Yeah, I think it's looking pretty good.
But even if it's not as much as we're hoping for, we've learned that there are still things we can do to be prepared to make the most of whatever comes our way.
Exactly. Being proactive and informed, those are the keys.
Proactive and informed, I like it. Great advice for anything in life, really.
It really is.
Well, before we sign off for this part, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about.
Okay, I'm all ears.
We've talked about how this potential coal increase could help in the short term, but what about the long term? How could even a small change in your regular income affect your financial future down the road?
That's a great question to ponder. It's easy to focus on the here and now, but even small changes can make a big difference over time. It could be the push you need to start investing more seriously, or to finally pay off that debt, or even to, make a career change that gives you more financial stability.
It's like a ripple effect, right? A small change now can lead to much bigger things later on.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe that ripple effect will help you achieve those dreams you've been putting off.
Ooh, I like that. Dreams. All right, everybody, we're going to leave you with that thought. Start dreaming big, and we'll be back soon with more financial deep dives to help you navigate this crazy world of money.
See you next time.
It's funny how just thinking about having a little more money can open up your mind to all sorts of possibilities.
Oh, yeah, it's like that mental block just disappears.
Exactly, like a weight's been lifted.
And you can see the path ahead more clearly, like climbing a mountain and reaching a new peak.
And from that peak, you can see all these new paths, new things you could try.
Maybe it's that business idea you had, or taking a class, or just spending more time with your family without worrying about the cost.
It's about having choices, right?
Exactly. Having control over your life, your time, your energy.
It's like money can't buy happiness, but it can buy you freedom.
And that freedom can lead to a lot more happiness, that's for sure.
Totally. So, yeah, this whole COLA thing, it's not just about the numbers. It's about how it can change your whole outlook.
It's about creating a life that's more aligned with what you want.
I couldn't have said it better myself. This deep dive has been fantastic. Really makes you think about the possibilities.
It really does. And remember, even small changes can have a big impact over time.
Like that ripple effect we talked about.
Exactly. So even if the COLA isn't as high as we hope, it's still a step in the right direction.
It's all about being proactive, making smart choices.
And knowing that you have the power to shape your financial future.
I love that. Powerful stuff. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. I feel like we've covered so much ground today.
We have, yeah. From the nitty-gritty of how COLA is calculated to, the bigger picture of what it all means for people.
Exactly. And I'm sure our listeners are walking away feeling just as informed and hopeful as I am.
I hope so. It's all about giving people the knowledge and tools they need to make the best decisions for themselves.
Knowledge is power, right? Especially when it comes to money.
Could agree more.
Well, before we say goodbye for today, I want to leave everyone with one last thought.
Okay, shoot.
As you go about your day, think about what even a small increase in your income could mean for you. What would you do with it? What dreams would you chase? What would you change?
Those are great questions to ask yourself. It's all about setting goals, making a plan, and taking action.
And remember, even small steps can lead to big results over time. So don't be afraid to dream big and start working towards those goals today.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. It's been a pleasure.
And thanks to you for all your amazing insights. Until next time, happy planning, everybody. 1995.